Hello, Ray Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play LEGO Star Wars: A Video Game, the GBA version, Part 2. We're at the streets of Feed now, the Feed, the main capital city of Naboo, where the planet of Naboo has been invaded by the Greedy Trade Federation, mostly because of tax evasion, because Naboo committed tax evasion. Now they get the tax people, get their armies to come and invade the city and kill their people. So, and they have the Queen captive. They want the Queen to sign some dumb treaty. So we're gonna go and after these invaders and rescue the Queen, because we're the heroes that have to rescue the Queen and rescue anyone that's in danger from these villains. I mean, we are heroes, right? What makes a hero heroes that they have to rescue someone, save someone from danger? Otherwise, we're just a bunch of costume freaks that just hit other things, that just hit and attack and smash over enemies. And that's not all this game is. There's a lot more in this game. There's combat, right? There's some other stuff that has to happen in this game, like collecting the Death Star plans. Star Wars Episode 1 was my first real experience with Star Wars. I've never actually seen a Star Wars movie before I saw it. I probably got a VHS tape of Star Wars Episode 1 in 2000, around the time it came out on VHS, and I've been hooked on Star Wars ever since I saw that movie for the first time. I always loved that movie. You know, I had no idea back then it was common for people to hate those movies, and now people are starting to like those movies now that Disney started making Star Wars movies, and people are starting to like George Lucas's prequel trilogy out of spite towards Disney. Yeah, I still like the prequels, but I never hated them, so I don't just like them out of spite. I like them because I think these movies are genuinely good movies that I like to watch again and again and again. They're some of my most watched movies ever. I recently watched my original VHS tape of Star Wars Episode 1 from 2000, and 25 years later, the tape still works perfectly fine. The quality is a little bit blurry, but I think that's kind of expected for watching a VHS tape on a modern TV, because VHS tapes aren't really intended to be viewed on widescreen TVs, like the new modern TVs that we have. You play as Jar Jar. It's cool that force power-up thing, the stamina power-up changes color depending on who you play as. Implying that Jar Jar Binks would have a blue lightsaber, if he had a lightsaber, that is. And Qui-Gon Jinn has a green lightsaber, so the force is green, and there's never Death Star plans. It's really easy to get a lot of Death Star plans as well. And this is what I think is hilarious about this game. Look what's about to come up. Playing as Qui-Gon Jinn, oh look, the Trade Federation is like, screw it, super battle droids aren't supposed to exist for another 10 years, but no one cares, we'll just send them into battle anyways, and Qui-Gon Jinn just moves his lightsaber really quick and close to his body, almost like he's some sort of gangster or something, almost like he's a Pootie Tang and he's going after a bunch of thugs, or something like that, like a bunch of thugs, like battle droids, super battle droids are kind of like the thugs of the Trade Federation. Well, they really worked for the Separatists, but that's not going to happen for another 10 years. But of course, no one that made this game ever actually cared about that. There's a Jawa in there. That's another cool thing that this game does that the console version doesn't have. There's these Jawas that hang out, and you can buy stuff from them. Sometimes they could buy you health power-ups or other kind of power-ups that you can use to help you get through the game. That's some temporary invincibility I just picked up there. So if I get shot, I'm not going to lose any health, and that's some sort of like power-up that makes your weapon a lot more powerful, so it'll do far more damage against the enemies. There can be a lot of enemies in this game. This game likes to cram enemies everywhere. You play as Jar Jar, jump over here, and look, it's like the game's trying to scare you, like, ooh, look, there's super battle droids and other enemies aren't supposed to exist yet, are hanging around here. They have blasters at you, they're gonna be blasting you, seeing you. I remember being a kid thinking this was very intimidating, but now I realize there's a very easy way to get out. There's always an easy way to get out of anything in kids' games. Okay, maybe not some Sega Genesis games or SNES games made for kids in the 90s, but in games like this, there's a very easy way to get around this. Well, first you have to go, be like Jar Jar if he was the main character of Die Hard rather than Bruce Willis, and run through these enemies and dodge their attacks, and throw the blue balls. Yeah, blue ball the enemies. The enemies really are getting blue balled, because how disappointed they are. Something like that. You just run past those things like it's nothing. Those things are pushovers, and Padme is being guarded by the super battle droids. Imagine if they did have super battle droids during Phantom Menace. They probably would have invaded Naboo successfully, and they may have even been successful at killing off the Jedi and killing off more of whatever there is. I wonder what would have happened if the invasion of Naboo was successful and Naboo was completely destroyed and didn't, cause anything to happen in the Senate. Imagine what would have happened then. I'm sure that Edward Palpatine would have had some kind of backup plan. Yeah, Can of Nothing says that the Emperor's real name is Edward. Those super battle droids are green for some reason. They look like green army camouflage pieces, kind of like I said, like army camouflage. Apparently green Lego pieces used to be uncommon in the 90s because they had supposedly had something to do with like the army, or it's a color associated with army colors, and Lego used to be very anti-war or anti-army back in the 90s before they made Star Wars. I saw that in a video where some guy in Japan recreated the entire Lego Star Wars, the entire Star Wars original trilogy, just using generic Lego because Lego Star Wars didn't exist yet. So he just used like Lego he had and he recreated a lot of the characters and created a lot of the scenes. I think it's really impressive. It makes me think of back in the days when I used to make my own low-budget Lego Star Wars picture show, or I would just take random Lego I had lying around the house, and I would just put it into the scene. Some of it was official Star Wars stuff, and some of it wasn't. A lot of the time I wouldn't have a character, so I would use a custom character and just say that's him. You know, I was going to take this guy and just say that's Mace Windu. I'm going to take this guy and just say he's an Imperial, he's some sort of like Imperial trooper or something like that. You know, just take random people you have and just say that that's what they are, and just, that actually is a much more creative way. It actually fully embodies the spirit of what Lego is supposed to stand for. Lego is supposed to stand for just, you know, you play with what you have, you take what you have and make your own things with it, and play around and have fun with Lego. The most fun you've ever had with Lego happens from just playing around with random pieces. That's something modern Lego fails to realize. I don't really get that. Lego isn't supposed to be about collecting all the best sets and collecting all the best characters. It's taking what things you have and playing around with them. Fully modern Lego could be like that. Maybe that's part of the reason why kids are getting dumber and dumber these days, because they're just, you know, they're just told to play with ways the way they're told to play with things, and maybe if they can't have their own things, maybe they might become smarter. I mean, some people say creativity also breeds, also breeds better grades in school, maybe, or better lateral thinking skills, maybe, or something like that. There's some hidden door over there we could walk to. Oh, we need a blaster to... There actually was something similar to this in the console game where you have to use the blaster and shoot the targets. Can of Nothing really did give me the idea to make my own Lego Star Wars stuff. I didn't even know about that slideshow that guy in Japan made from the 90s of Lego back then. I honestly got my ideas for making my own Lego Star Wars slideshow from Can of Nothing, and just today I downloaded all of their videos onto my computer, saved them onto my computer, to hope they'll never become lost media one day, because those videos actually are a pivotal part of what gave me the idea to make those slideshows, Lego Star Wars slideshows, which were some of the first videos I ever uploaded to YouTube back in 2017. They're completely mute though. I didn't put any audio or sounds in them, mostly because of fear of copyright, so I wouldn't get copyright, because you don't know what kind of videos could get copyright. I wasn't sure if these videos would get copyright or not, so I only made one so far and it didn't. I don't know, maybe it doesn't consider these horribly compressed versions of Star Wars music to be copyrighted. I mean, technically it's different from the actual music that actually appears in the real movie, so maybe that's why. I also noticed earlier I bought one of those circular droid things. Looks like that thing Luke Skywalker was training with in the Millennium Falcon. That thing's pretty much another life. If you get killed right now, it's gonna use that thing, and then you can just respawn from where you last died. It's like buying an extra life. You only keep one of them though, which is kind of unfortunate, but I mean, this game isn't that hard where it's like you're gonna be getting killed constantly. You have way more health in this game than you do in the console games, so I guess it kind of makes up for it. If health in this game really did work the same way it did in the console game, oh boy, this really would be. I really would have a field day with this. I'd have to constantly be like playing hit and run, like hiding and running around for enemies and killing them. You actually do something very similar to this in the console game too, where you have to save the Naboo pilots. But you do that in one of the much later levels of Star Wars Episode 1, not right at the beginning. We're first on Naboo, and you just run around. And this is what I meant in the other video. I said this game is more like Spyro the Dragon. It involves a great deal of exploration, running around and whatnot, which is something that you don't really get to do as much in the console game. That's something you'd really expect for a Game Boy Advance game to have all that kind of free roam. Since when was a Game Boy Advance known for having the best free roaming games? Well, apparently the Game Boy Advance is capable of running free roaming games. I guess that's why people question, what levers this stuff things could the Game Boy Advance possibly do? How great was the Game Boy Advance really, and what could it really achieve? Someone supposedly ported Super Mario 64 to the Game Boy Advance. Well, they ported all the SNES Mario games there, so I thought they probably figured the next thing they could have possibly done was to port Super Mario 64 onto that thing. I don't really know where the last pilots are, so I'm just kind of roaming around. It would have been a bit easier if they gave like a mapping system, maybe if they could see like a map of where it is, but nah, they didn't bother to do that. Or I thought, kids are just gonna want to run around and have fun killing stuff anyways. That's what kids only seem to care about, running around killing stuff. They failed to acknowledge the fact that this is supposed to be like some sort of a puzzle game or something. Because this game technically, well, I mean, the console version technically is a puzzle game in a way. They're mostly solving puzzles and looking for things to find, like looking for hidden secrets. That's how you pretty much get the game 100% complete. The main point of these games is to get them 100% complete. That's not exactly, I mean, that's not really the case in the Game Boy Advance version. This version, you pretty much just get the game 100% complete as soon as you complete every level in the game, which makes getting the Death Star plans kind of useless in a lot of ways. I mean, it's also useless now too. You just go online and find all the codes yourself and enter them in, because all it does is just give you codes, so it doesn't really do much in terms of, it doesn't really give you much, unless there's like a hidden bonus level. Maybe there is some like super secret hidden content in this version that I don't know about. That would make the game way much better if I did know about it, but I highly doubt that. I really doubt the people who made this game thought of anything like that. It's equivalent of Jar Jar now is roaming around. I think you have to jump onto something. A lot of these parts of these levels have high jump areas. Supposed to be Jar Jar Binks, and you jump really high like Robbit from Jumping Flash. Or something like that. Yeah, I introduced Jumping Flash to a friend the other day that'd never heard of it before, and I think he really liked Jumping Flash. And I wish I could introduce that game to more people. If only more people knew about Jumping Flash, it could become a very popular game over 30 years after its release. Or maybe it's just better being left in obscurity. I don't know, maybe that's part of the reason why I like some of the games that I like. I always seem to have a preference for obscure games. Maybe that's part of why I liked it. Maybe I secretly liked it so much because it was obscure. It was just as popular, as well known or famous as Super Mario 64. Maybe I wouldn't have liked it. I highly doubt that was the case, but I mean, there's a lot of popular games that I like. Yeah, I like Super Mario 64. I thought that was a pretty entertaining game. It's definitely one of the best games on the N64, and I think the N64 is Nintendo's best system ever. It is an underrated powerhouse of a system. So was the GameCube. That was also an underrated powerhouse. Fucking these gold studs. They almost look like gold coins from Mario games. And there's those turret things that we only see in this GBA. I don't think those turret things are in the console version. You can see their health meters around that ring around their base. You also just kill them by jumping into them and body slamming them. I think that's all of them now, and I think that's the end of the level now. There we go, that is the end of the level. Oh boy, we're really gonna get a big score for this one. Look at all the stuff we caught. Look at all the goodies we got. We killed 91 troops, deflected 28 blasts, collected so many studs, and collected almost all of the Death Star plans. Oh, and we got the rank of Master. I wonder if we'll get a seat on the Jedi Council for this. And we unlocked Amidala, it's the Queen's name, just simply Amidala, and somehow we ended up on Tatooine. Ray Phoenix, signing out.